Hey, good morning, everybody. It is 8:02 a.m. on this Monday, August 18th, 2025. And yes, as of today, we are back to semi-normal. And what I mean by semi-normal, as I mentioned in the other audio video yesterday, basically what that means is, as far as I'm concerned, work or not, and hopefully I will be working, put it in prayer that I'll be working very, very soon, either at the new SB Coffee Place here in Newman. SB, of course, short for one of the more top premier coffee brands and companies in the world, as well as pray, if I don't get there, pray I go back into the distributing center for this holiday season for the third year in a row. But to get on point, I do apologize, it is early, I'm still waking up, but to get on point, basically, yes, as I mentioned, we are back to semi-normal, and what that means, basically, as I was saying and alluding to, basically what that means is the matriarch and her fellow crew of 10-month teachers have gone back today, and as of right now have officially clocked back into work for the 2025-26 season. But it means essentially that, these next 2 weeks starting today, basically it's going to be unpredictable schedule-wise, because even though they're told that the new clock-out time is 5 p.m. and that starting tomorrow, I'm assuming, the new clock-in time will be 8:30 a.m., it doesn't necessarily mean that, that's going to be the status quo, at least for these first 2 weeks. Yes, come September 2nd, it will be the status quo, but for the first 2 weeks back, it may not be, because as I alluded to in the audio video yesterday, basically they got a lot of things to go through, I should say. They got a lot of things to go through. Like today, they got to do a reintroduction of everything they probably already know, hold on. Sorry, got a little tongue-tied there. But like I said, basically this is just going to be like a refresher for them. It's going to be a refresher of what they already know, maybe be taught some new stuff, be given some new information. They're going to be given their packets, they're going to have new information, so on and so forth. But again, the reason I always say back to semi-normal is because schedule-wise, it's going to be unpredictable, because even though, as I said, 5 p.m. is the new clock-out time and 8:30 as of tomorrow is the new clock-in time, it doesn't necessarily mean that. It could mean that, starting, tomorrow, instead of 8:30, they can be told come in at 9. Or this Wednesday, they can be told come in at 9:30, and so on. Or if they get done in ahead of schedule of whatever they have to do over these next 2 weeks to get ready for September 2nd, they could be told, okay, you got ahead, you're already done. Guess what? Clock out, go home, and enjoy the rest of your day. And that could be around 3:30, 3 o'clock, or even 4 o'clock. We're not really sure. But point I'm getting at is these next 2 weeks, Monday through Friday wise, is going to be kind of unpredictable. It's going to be unpredictable to the point, ladies and gentlemen, that I might be recording like I am now, looking out the window, the guest window, looking out the front room window, and the matriarch could be walking up the walkway around 4 o'clock because they let her out at 3, or so on, or so on and so forth, and that assumption. But yes, as I mentioned, I know I sound like I rambled a bit and didn't make much sense there. I do apologize. Like I said, it's early. I'm still waking up. But yes, as I mentioned, we are back to semi-normal. And come September 2nd, work or not, and pray I do get work at the new SB Coffee Shop in Newman or back at the distributing center in Patterson for a third holiday season. Basically, work or not, come September 2nd, that's when things will be back to normal. Now, with that said, as I alluded to in the audio video yesterday, man, this summer has been one heck of a summer. I mean, not only was it a very birthday-filled summer, for my family, it's been like that for most of our generations, if you will. Mostly with me and my cousins and my siblings and my nieces and my nephews and all that. It's mostly been, a, very summery birthday bonanza, if you will. Very summery birthday bonanza. I mean, if if it's not one birthday, it's another. And if it's not that birthday, it's another. And it's just crazy. I mean, this weekend was my great niece's 5th birthday, and she just started kindergarten this past week. She just started kindergarten for, this past week, but it was her 5th birthday this week, which was kind of cool and everything. And she enjoyed, everything she got. She enjoyed everything she got. In fact, my niece, her mother, actually liked what I got her as well, because one of the things, that you're able to find, I'm trying to find the right word to say here, one of the things you're able to find in person or online, either at Walmart or wherever, is you can find certain t-shirts of iconic figures that you grew up with, or the next generation after you grew up with and enjoyed. You can find them. And I found this t-shirt just in my great niece's size that had Dolly Parton on it. And my niece, her mom, like I said, enjoyed that. She loved that because she loves Dolly Parton. And it's going to be nice to see her daughter wearing that so she can pass on that love for, for the character and everything going forward. Well, not character, but for the person, I should say, going forward. But yeah, we had that, and then Sunday was my niece's actual birthday. What's funny is her and her daughter are basically back to back, just about. My great niece was born on the 15th. My niece was born on the 17th, and my niece just turned 33. So yeah, she was born in '92. But yeah, basically she had her birthday. Didn't have much of one, basically like, family gathering together is, because, that's how things are. And that's what kind of I learned this year as well. Things are going to change a lot to the point that birthdays are not what they used to be. Birthday celebrations are not what they used to be due to the fact that family is just scattered all over the place. You know what I mean? But yeah, so her birthday was on Sunday. We celebrated my great niece's birthday this past Saturday, the day after her actual birthday. And then the week prior, we celebrated my 3rd oldest nephew's birthday at Red Lobster. He turned 18. He's going to be going to UC Santa Barbara in a month and everything, maybe sooner, depending if he gets a job in that region. But yeah, he's going to go to UC Santa Barbara within a month. And let's just say his parents, mostly my middle sibling, not, they're prepared for it, but not really. They're kind of in that influx of preparing, if you will, of acceptance. It's like they're going to accept it, but they're not prepared for it, or they're prepared for it, they're just not really ready to accept it, kind of deal, and everything. But yeah, basically he's going to be down there, and like I said, they're kind of in that influx right now of, being being prepared, not accepting, and not being prepared, like I said. But yeah, his birthday was like basically 4 days. His actual birthday was actually this past Monday, a week ago today. His actual birthday was a week ago, but they celebrated on a Saturday because, everybody had to work and all that and go back to school. So yeah, his birthday, like I said, was this. We celebrated, I should say, a week ago, this past Saturday at Red Lobster. So we celebrated my great niece's at her grandfather's in Modesto. At her grandfather's in Modesto. And then the week prior, we went to Modesto to Red Lobster to celebrate my 3rd oldest nephew's 18th birthday. So yeah, very, very birthday filled in August and towards the end of July and so on and so forth. And then, if that's not enough, the matriarch has hers a week from today. And then 6 days later, the oldest of me and my siblings has her big 5-0 and everything. And she's planning to go to basically Sin City, if you know what I mean, in Nevada to see, Bruno Mars. That's the plan. That's the plan, but plans could change. We'll see. But that's the plan, but plans could change. But yeah, very birthday-filled summer, if you will. Now, for me, there was some positives, as I alluded to, and again, keep this in your prayers. I did have an interview at the Los Banos stores for the SB Coffee Company, the SB Coffee Company, that's building a new store here in Newman, which is only 5 minutes away from me. And, you know, the interview went really good. And they said they'd get back to me by email or phone. They haven't done that yet. And I did kind of reapply online, you know, at the website, at the career portion of the website, and it did have this time around the Newman location listed. So I did apply again for that. So we'll see what happens. And again, pray I get in there because it's just right around the corner. And if not, pray I get back into the distributing center. You know, in Patterson, trying to find where it's, again, it's early, I do apologize, I'm still waking up, but distributing center in Patterson for a third time for the holiday season. Just pray one of those things happen, you know, and become reality. But yeah, basically though, as I mentioned, as I alluded to, basically, like I said, it's just, you know, been an interesting summer. Again, positives, you know, and everything here and there, just very, very interesting, even from a personal standpoint, but I'm not going to get into that any more than I have to. I mean, the positiveness, I want to stick on that, is my third oldest nephew, who I said celebrated his 18th birthday, graduating high school in May. So that kicked off the whole summer thing for us. And then it just snowballed from there. But outside of all that, it's been, like I said, one of those intriguing summers. I mean, for a content creator like me, as I alluded to in the other video, you know, I tried to keep on pace and on par with uploading content and setting it to premiere weeks and months in advance during the summer break. So you would at least have one. So at least you would have one, you know, video, maybe 2 videos a day, you know, but unfortunately that didn't happen because even though I started off well, things fell off. And yeah, basically, like I said, it's been an intriguing summer. I mean, for me though, even though I did have some positives, I did have some negatives. I mean, yes, I did get my teeth worked on finally, but it seems that the people that, and I did an audio video on this, the people that were working on my teeth, obviously still have a lot to learn. Now, I will admit that partially the reason they didn't get to that next stage with me, you know, I'll admit it's partially my fault because I didn't finish that Sunbit insurance deal. And the Sunbit insurance would have helped me out, or financing insurance, the Sunbit and financing insurance, whatever it's called, would have helped me out tremendously. It would have helped me out tremendously. But basically, you know, long story short, you know, it was because of a lot of things going on, graduations and reschedulings of the appointments from me and then from the doctor. You know, it basically felt like, you know, things just got lost and, you know, mentally got lost in the shuffle. So I totally forgot about it and everything. But I'm trying to get it going again. I did talk to somebody, and they did say they were going to email the people that are in charge of it, or at least have a say in the insurance thing, and that hopefully they will call me back or email me really soon. But they haven't done that yet, so I got to call back very soon as well and see what's going on. I got to basically let them know, yeah, I didn't get no response, so please help me out here. You know, that's what I have to do. But yeah, the place I went to get my teeth at, the doctor's a really good doctor. He knows what he's doing. I mean, when I went back there recently to probably go into stage 2, which is putting like the little screw flatheads, you know, put the little flatheads, if you will, the adjacents, if you will, whatever they're called, the adjunctants, you know, putting those parts on the screws. You know, when I went back there and everything, he said everything looked good. But again, what really just pissed me off was as I'm sitting down, getting ready to have this procedure done, as I'm sitting down, laying down on the chair, that's when the receptionist comes in, because I overheard her talking to the doctor about me. I heard my name being spoken. She comes in and says, we can't proceed with the next stage until we get a payment. And I'm like, And I'm like, wait a minute. So you couldn't tell me this while I was waiting for nearly an hour along with other 5 o'clock, 5:30 appointments? Because here's the other interesting thing too. Originally, when they rescheduled me for the appointment days before my birthday, but basically 4 days before my birthday, here's what's interesting, okay? Here's what's interesting. So they scheduled me, right? For 4 days before my birthday, which is on Monday. My birthday was on a Friday, but 4 days before, the 21st of July, that's when they scheduled me. So originally they scheduled me for noontime, right? 12 o'clock in the afternoon to get it done. All of a sudden I get an email. I get an email reminding me of my appointment, which is good, but then I notice it says 5:30. I'm like, what is this? And so I try to get it corrected, but I can't. Because apparently there were more important appointments, that needed priority or whatever the case might be. So I ended up waiting along with a lot of people for quite some time, and I was like the last person they called to the back. And in that time, they couldn't call me up to the reception desk and say, yeah, we can't proceed with your appointment because we didn't get a payment, so, unfortunately the doctor won't be able to see you. It's like they couldn't tell me that while I was waiting. It's like, I get the idea that this place is kind of like part school, part training facility, part dental facility, or dental hospital, whatever. I get that. I understand that. I do. I get that. I understand that. But this to me, it's just, unprofessional. It's unorganized. Now, yes, like I said, I will admit, part of it is my fault because I didn't fill out that Sunbit insurance financial stuff when I should have. But again, a lot of stuff was going on, so it slipped my mind. Now, I have to try to get it back going again. And like I said, I did talk to somebody, and I'm giving it time. I am giving it time. That is what I am doing. I'm giving it plenty of time to see what happens. I called them on, Thursday, I believe. I called them on Thursday, I believe. I have to go check my phone again. But I called them on Thursday. They told me they were going to email and all that, and hopefully I would get a response. I haven't got a response yet, so I'm going to give it just a bit more time. If I don't hear anything by at least, let's say, tomorrow, maybe Wednesday, then I'm going to call them and say, hey, it's been almost a week. I haven't heard anything. I want to know what's going on. Because, usually, I'm the kind of person that wants to be courteous. I want to be courteous and polite because I know they have a lot of stuff going on and all that. But if I don't hear anything, probably almost within the week's time, then I'm going to call them. And I'm going to call them and see what's going on. But yeah, basically, even though it is partially my fault because I didn't follow through on it, honestly though, they shouldn't have taken me if that was the case. That's the thing. They shouldn't have taken me if that was the case. But yeah, that's the only thing outside of a very interesting, mostly positive summer. That's the only thing that occurred outside of this being an interesting, positive, very birthday-filled summer. That's the only negative thing for me. Now, outside of that, we did accomplish some things here in the house. My mom, the matriarch, I should say, the matriarch, if you will, she did get some things taken care of as well. First of all, she's always wanted to get some bookshelves for her books, and that's what we did. We got 2 bookshelves. I put them together. But the way I put them together, because these are mainstay bookshelves and all that, the way I put them together was backwards. Now, what I mean by that is, basically, I put the bottom as the top on both of them. Well, actually, the first one I built, or put together for the matriarch, I basically mistake the bottom for the top. But what's interesting is the matriarch actually likes it that way because that way they can dust under there if they have to, because, or at least reach under there for a little bit of dusting if they have to, because basically the bottom that's now the top on these shelves has that little wood piece that basically covers the bottom. And she likes it better that way because it makes it more of a unique design. And again, it gives her, it gives her a bit of an opening to dust under there or reach under there if something falls, falls under it, if you will, falls under the shelf. But yeah, I built the first one accidentally, reversibly. And then I just, the matriarch said, just do the same way. It looks better that way anyway. So I did the same building, the same put together, if you will, of the second bookshelf in a similar fashion. But yeah, they were able to get those done and get the books that they've had. They have a lot of books finally just stored up and everything. And they got a lot more than I do. Well, actually, I have a decent amount of books too, but probably more than them. But I think they, over 70 years or 50, 40 years have more than I do. But point I'm getting at is they got that done, which was good. They did get some other things done as well. Like for me, I decided, you know what, I'm going to put up the one thing that my grandfather had, my late grandfather had. He had this, like when him and my grandma was alive, they lived in Haywood on Thomas Avenue, and one of the rooms he basically dedicated not only to his dogs, his Yorkies, but he also made into like kind of like a collection trophy room. So you would walk in and you would see all this, you would see a seat, which we actually have the seat in our guest room right now, but he would sit on that seat, if you will, just to, I guess, have some quiet time or whatever. But in the room, he would have all kinds of stuff. And it was mostly all 49ers, A's, you name it. He would have all kinds of stuff. And it was just amazing. And when he passed, my grandma decided to pass on some of his stuff to the grandchildren. And the way she did it was through my aunt and my uncle, who live in Tracy. And they decided, okay, who could get what? And then they saw this 49er thing with the cards and the coins, and they decided, you know what, that's better suited for Brian instead of my uncle, which is, which is the matriarch and her sister's brother. So they're like, yeah, that's more suited for Brian. So is the helmet, because I've always wanted the little toy helmet and everything that he had. So I have those now. I have those, along with some of the other 49er posters and stuff he used to have. So a lot of that went my way, believe it or not. A lot of that stuff went my way. But yeah, I have that stuff basically, with me and all that. But like I said, I was able to finally put up the coin thing. I was finally able to put up the coin thing, the coin and card thing frame, if you will. But it was very unique how to put it together, because it's one of those makeshift, because it doesn't have any grooves or like holes in there that you can hang with and all that. You know how a lot of these things like pictures and clocks and all that have the little holes that you can hook things onto. This has a wire on the back, and so does the house divided A's and Giants picture we have that I got at the Apricot Fiesta. It too has wires. It has a wire. And it's just the old school way of doing things, of makeshifting stuff and all that. And that's what my grandfather did. Either he made it or somebody made it for him. It's one of those to where, it's very makeshift. It's very makeshift, if you will. So you got to be kind of careful on how you hang it and all that. But yeah, we both basically got things done. We got things done, that she was able to get, the matriarch was able to get her Beatles picture back up. This, just a picture of all of just their heads in a, behind a black background. I'm trying to find a word to say. Like I mentioned earlier, it's early, but yeah, it's basically the heads behind a black background and everything. So yeah, she was able to get that up and stuff. So she was able to accomplish some things. So she was actually able to get some stands too for her plants and everything, because she's been wanting to get them off the floor so they don't wet the floor and all that. So yeah, the matriarch was able to do a lot of stuff that she's been planning to do for a while, and everything and all that. And also, we did have my third oldest nephew, who, like I said, recently celebrated his 18th birthday. We did have my nephew stay at least a couple of days, because he does that every summer. He stayed for at least 3 or 4 days, about 3.5 days, because he had to be back for his dad's birthday. And basically, basically, and if you heard anything, my finger just hit the button on the recorder here. But anyway, he had to be back for his dad's birthday and everything, and that might have been, I should say, not this is, but that might have been the last time he's going to be spending the night here ever, because again, he's going to be going to UC Santa Barbara. And basically, he might be having a place of his own outside there, outside of the college and all that, unless he comes home. He might have something outside, outside of, college, in that region, so he can, live on his own or live with some friends and stuff like that. But yeah, it's been an interesting, like I said, very intriguing summer. A lot, like I said, a lot of birthdays, a lot of positives, and for me, it's somewhat of a negative, but again, partially my fault because I didn't do the Sunbit deal, and partially, if not mostly, their fault for not letting me know that, as I'm just sitting there on the 25th of July waiting to be seen and get my teeth taken care of, or at least get the next stage done. So yeah, outside of that, very intriguing, positive like summer and everything. And yeah, the only thing that content-wise for me that was kind of bittersweet and everything, like I said, was even though I started out strong by uploading videos and sending them to premiere days and weeks after the initial summer break began, basically, I kind of faltered, and basically that would cause me to skip some days and everything, 2 days, maybe 3 days, but 3 days at most. But I would skip some days. This past 5 days, before last night, when I uploaded the first vlog, audio video, before I uploaded that, it had been 5 days. That's probably one of the longest in a while that I've ever gone without uploading things. But again, as I've alluded to, that's what the summer break season does. The summer break season basically is one of those seasons to where essentially, you just gotta work with opportunities, or just, kind of skip some days because, it's one of those situations that, that you're in. And that's about it. But anyway, though, guys, I just wanted to come on here and talk about that, give you a bit of a vlog as to how the summer went, bit of a follow-up to the last video, audio video, but yeah, just a bit more of an in-depth vlog as to what's been going on and everything, and also let you know that as of today, we are back to semi-normal, and come September 2nd, work or not, and pray I do get work. Keep it in your prayers, guys. I really ask you, keep it in your prayers that I get work at the SB Coffee Place or at the distributing center back in Patterson that I was over the past 2 years, past 2 holiday seasons. Keep it in your prayers, guys, that happens. But yeah, outside of that, again, very intriguing summer, and I just wanted to come on here, let you guys know about it, more detailed vlog, if you will, and that's about it, guys. So until next time, give me your thoughts down below, as well as in the live chat if you haven't already. Like the video, ring the bell for notifications, subscribe to the channel, click on the links in the description to find my content elsewhere outside of YouTube, as well as click on the last link in the description to find merchandise you can't find anywhere else at the Teespring store. And again, guys, I do apologize if I was all over the place. Like I said, I'm just waking up. It's still early. It is now just turned 8:30 a.m. Pacific. But yeah, I just wanted to get this out here while I can. And until next time, guys, I will talk to y'all later, and until then, God bless, take care.